The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Useful Hacking Series. We're just prepping up, and we should be ready to go within just another minute, and we'll be right back. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So we're going to get started now. How's everyone doing today? My name is Ken Wong, and I'm the U.S. Regional Director of Secure and also your moderator today. I'd like to briefly go over some basic housekeeping items. Be sure to use the questions tab. If you have any questions during the session, I'll be notifying Paula, our presenter, during the webinar, and she'll address all questions as they kind of come up. Also at the end of the webinar, we'll be sending a survey for feedback regarding our webinar. So please provide any feedback. It will be a great thing for us to do a better job for you in the upcoming series. So I would like to inform you about some upcoming workshops in New York. Our next workshop is Hacking and Securing Windows Infrastructure. This workshop is one of our most popular workshops, and it will be held in our New York office on June 20th and 24th. The instructor will also be Paula, and we also have another one, an amazing PKI training, also being held in our New York offices. And also Paula will be being the instructor. So this will be held on July 18th and the 22nd. We currently right now will help you with any bookings, hotel travels, anything that you would like. So please feel free to give us a call. We have some great discounts for bulk travel, for if you have more people coming in, or any type of discounts. And also, as the Useful Hacking series, we provide some great discounts just being part of the members here.
By the way, I have to mention one thing, and maybe you could add that, Ken, too, that we've got a pretty nice view from the office.
Amazing view. It's it's quite beautiful view. So if you ever just need to not pay attention to Paula, no, don't do that. But it's a view. Hopefully you can kind of either stare at Paul or stare into the New York skyline. Either one would be nice.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. So we also, if you're interested in being a certified infrastructure security master, please have a look at our course path. We can definitely walk you through and help you with a customized path that you can take in different industries, different type of ideas that you want to go down, whether it be security, infrastructure developer, or even web technologies. We have a lot of customized paths that you can take to really bring you up to that next level in the IT security industry. So without further ado, I want to introduce Paula Januszkiewicz. We have some new courses that she'll explain right now that are coming in the new year. I believe that would be the next slide, Paula. And I guess you can speak a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. Thank you for the nice intro, Ken. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And a couple of words, not for too long. We've got the Skype for Business troubleshooting. That's our new one. It's actually quite a hardcore training for everybody that's ever implemented Link or Skype. We've got also the forensics class, and that is pretty advanced because we were a little bit fed up with what is currently up there in the market. So we decided to write up something that is quite advanced. Things like PowerShell, Office 365, Azure, and so on. We've got also ATA training, and that is pretty cool. It's an upcoming stuff from Microsoft. And then we've got an easy one, which is the 2016 Windows Server and the different kinds of features, but it's not a review training, as if you've ever been with us, you know that whatever we do, we always try to do on a pretty hardcore level. So that is actually 2016 working already in a mature environment, and you play with that. So it's not that easy training, but the subject is very light. Anyway, so I think this is it, and let's move on with the presentation. Definitely time for that. And today we're going to be talking about the case of denial of service, which is very nice if you're going to do it to yourself in order to measure the web servers, or in general the server's performance. And I would like to show you a couple of examples. How can you do it? Plus how to measure the server performance, so that we are able to move forward, and hopefully you're going to get inspired a little bit. But at the very beginning, a little comment about what the useful hacking series are. And these are the follow-up videos after the articles that we issue. So if you are interested, you sign up to our newsletters and so on, and then you're going to get it. We don't do marketing. Besides, we have to mention our trainings because we are very excited always when we are running them. But on the top of that, anyway, let's start. I think it's definitely a high time to start. Anyway, so regarding myself, and if not, then well, I'm playing with security in general. I'm a penetration tester. I've got access to the source code of Windows, speaking on different kinds of conferences. I was rated #1 speaker at the Microsoft Ignite, and pretty much that's it. Security, it's a cool thing. We've got secure team, secure company in 3 locations: Dubai, New York, and Warsaw, Poland. And basically right now it's 11 of us. Everybody has something to do very much with security, delivering that hardcore penetration test. So this is us. We always try to keep quality as high as possible. So if you're interested in being updated, you can also like us on Facebook, where we always publish, and this is the way of communication with you, we always publish different kinds of tools and so on. So basically, what we're going to be talking about? Well, we're going to be talking about denial of service. And the whole idea actually started because our customer was actually a victim of the denial of service attack eventually. That was in the Netherlands. And what happened is that the website, quite an important public-related website, was down. And it was down because someone floated them. And apparently, as it appeared later, because there was a legal case at the end, one of the tools engaged in the attack was actually the tool that you see right now on the screen, the low orbit ion cannon. There is also a high orbit ion cannon, but in general, a very, very little tool, quite intensely working in order to attack a certain website. Now, let's have a look what kind of stuff do we get. In the meantime, so basically what we're going to be playing with is that that particular tool at the very beginning, well, I'm super happy to show you, of course, how that works. And that particular tool is actually, this is a little bit bigger because the tool cannot be enlarged. Here we specify the URL, of course, and let's say in this case it's going to be www.google.com. We can do logon, then we've got a certain IP address, then we specify, of course, a certain method. So let's say, like you see over here, HTTP over a certain port. We can even, for example, perform different kinds of connections on certain ports. So TCP, UDP, we can choose that. And here you specify the intensivity. Of course, this is more like for fun. Technically, that means, well, I'm charging my laser. Yeah, so in general, you see that the tool, it's not 100% professional, but effectively, I will just stop uploading. In a couple of seconds, you see that we've got certain amount of requests. So in this case, 442. We have downloaded certain types of well, files because we are getting the answers back. So that's the case, and so on. So that's the whole philosophy. Now, question is, what do they feel on the other side? What Google thinks about us? The reason why I choose Google is because that is really a normal traffic what we did right now. But of course, when we are reconsidering our own website somewhere out there, that traffic, it's probably a little bit more lighter. And question is, how do we react to this? Plus, how can we measure what's the borderline when we are still doing fine and we will stop doing fine? So what are these boundaries? So I would like to talk about that. So effectively, we're going to actually start from a little lesson, and I would like to show you how we are able to perform the denial of service attack. I'll just skip it. Denial of service attack in the controlled way. And this particular machine is going to be our attacker. And what I'm going to use for that, let me go to the program files over here and WCAT. We're going to use WCAT. So WCAT you can download from Microsoft websites. Basically, this is like a script, quite professional, which you can use to perform different types of performance tests that are related, of course, with denial of service, but these tests can be customized in a way so that we are able to, for example, test how a web page behaves under certain conditions. And in order to specify these conditions, we've got here scenario file. Let me run it. And that scenario file written technically by ourselves, but it's absolutely easy. You got a lot of examples in the internet how to do it. That defines us the conditions under which tests will be performed. So for example, we've got a little warm-up, duration, so we get a 60 seconds of the test, cooldown, and so on. We're going to run it a couple of times. And we are, and this is the transaction at the very end, we are specifying that we're going to actually run the tests against the main URL that we're going to give. So if I specify, for example, the web page that I have running on my server, then I will not use here any other specific requests. Of course, what is interesting, and I have to mention it at that point, is that the more expensive, longer, harder, stronger request is, of course, the better denial of service results going to be. So if you have, for example, on your web page some different kinds of queries to the database, it's super important that you are able to pinpoint the ones that last the longest time, and I would like to show you how to do that. So in our case, you can put over here, in our case we're going to do it in a generic way, but you can put over here that particular type of a URL that takes the longest time and see how the server is going to behave when you're going to do it. So this is one of the ways. Because useful hacking series is very short, like a very intense and short demonstration about how to do this, yes? Then hopefully you're going to get inspired, and after that particular video, you're going to do your own tests with a little bit more customization. I just want to tell you how to do it. And maybe for the next time we can do it in a little bit more customized way. Anyway, so WCAT, it's a C script. Okay. And we're going to, of course, run it WCAT WSF. And then we're going to do terminate. And then update clients local hosts in order to initiate, of course, WCAT to perform the tests. Yeah, so this is the first command. Now, what is important is that, of course, we launch it, but when we're going to launch it, I would like to show you at the same time, we're going to move to the other server and verify how the other server behaves so that you can see what is the result in general. So we can specify run, and then we're going to specify this server in this case. You can specify here www.contoso.com, or a certain server IP address, whatever you want. Especially here, our URL is default, so it's going to be HTTP 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 to 100, and then that's it. Yeah, so for us it works. Verbosity 1, and then -t, and then we're going to specify scenario file. So according to our scenario, we're going to warm up for the first 5 seconds, we're going to attack for the next 60 seconds, and then basically we're going to cool down, and that's going to be our attack. Let's do it, and it looks like this. So this is the warm-up, okay? And in the moment, the attack is going to happen, so test beginning, and so on. So it's going to be in the moment. Okay, perfect. So these are the statistics for the test. Now, what I want to show you, because this is actually pretty interesting, we're going to go in here, and in this particular server, this is the server that is being attacked. In performance, you can see, well, we could use Task Manager for that. It doesn't really matter. It's for picture. I want to show you the picture. But of course, we can measure amount of requests, and we're going to do it. But see here that, of course, the CPU activity is a little bit, well, busy. Effectively, what we are measuring here, it's how much of the CPU time in the moment in time is taken. So right now, it's not too bad because we are taking 80–85% of the possible time to be taken, so that's not dangerous. But remember that we only did -v1, so if I intensify it and multiply the attack by 10, then it's going to be interesting, and this is definitely what I want to show you. So of course at that moment, yes, we could say, okay, our firewall will block it, absolutely, but my goal is actually to show you how we are able to, for example, perform the tests for ourselves. So the ones that you actually do not block, and effectively you can measure how many requests cause your server to behave like this. Okay, so this is the stop of the attack, as you see, and we can of course multiply it by 10. Let's do it as one of the examples. Here we go. The attack is going to start, and I'm switching back to the web server. And as you see, this is like super total 100% of the CPU time taken. And what is so cool about that is that that server is going to have a problem, because if I am right now taking 100% of the CPU time, and there is another request of a bunch of requests that come, then I'm not able to serve them within this certain, like a reasonable time, because I put them aside and say, hey, hold on, I have to like work on whatever I got right now, and then I'm gonna do that response to you. I'm gonna generate a response to you. That actually causes the website to respond in a very like a slower way, in a slow way. So basically, sooner or later, for example, either we're gonna time out, or depends on the server. I want to show you something in IIS, especially. Whenever we go to the effectively advanced settings of the application pool, there is a parameter, it's called queue length, and it's 1000. And that means that if there will be 1000 requests waiting for the server, so see http.sys on a server side, to be done, and then you're going to be 1001st, then you're going to get then 503 service unavailable, pretty much the same message when the application pool is stopped, and then it means that the attack was successful. Yes, so that really depends on two things: resources and bandwidth. In this case, we are attacking resources, and the CPU, as we could see, was actually high. Now, question is how we are able to analyze everything, and that's going to be done by, for example, using log parser. And our log parser, you can also download it from the Microsoft web page. And log parser, it's amazing. This is one of my favorite tools in order to do the log analysis. If you don't like the command line, that's fine. You can, for example, install log parser. It's free. And on the top of it, you can install log parser Lizard or log parser Studio in order to have a little bit of graphics on the top of that. And that looks really awesome. And you can not only parse the IIS logs, but you can also parse SQL logs and a couple of other types of logs, or in general XMLized logs, so that they are by default parsable. Log parser can do it, and its performance is absolutely great. So let's have a look. Basically, what I have here, it's like the commands that I've written before for myself. The reason why is because it's a short time that we've got, and I don't want to spend it on writing, but I will definitely explain you everything that we got over here. So have a look. Basically, we've got here a log parser, and then we are specifying the log type. IIS W3C is a standard within IIS, and which is absolutely parsable, known by log parser, where, and this is a SQL-ish form, we select and effectively we count, so amount of items from, we specify the log. So at the beginning, we're just going to count the amount of items, how long it's going to take for us to analyze different things. And I have actually a pretty huge amount of items, so it might be even necessary for me to maybe clean it before, because I've got, let's see how much. That is actually, in this case, 11.5 million items in my logs. That's a lot. Yes, so that these are the logs that are gathered for a while, but that was done within the 15 seconds, which for that amount is actually pretty impressive. Normally it's even shorter. I'm running this in a virtual machine, but normally it's a little bit shorter. Let's have a look on the further steps. So we know how much we're going to be analyzing. Right now, what we're going to do, we're going to calculate all of the other things, all of the types of response that our server served. Let's one more time, copy and paste, that are different from 200. 200 it's status okay. So for example, if there is a 503 happened, or 404 because someone was querying some websites that do not exist, someone had a problem with authentication for one and stuff like that, we want to know how often that kind of stuff happens. Why do we do it? Because if, for example, we are experiencing a denial of service attack that is not very prepared, that is a little bit randomized, someone's going to do things like, normally we call them crawling, so we're going to be checked for what do we have in our website, and that generates a lot of 404s, so we want to know basically if this is something that we are also experiencing here. And out of these 11.5 million types of events, we are actually analyzing if we do have different types of 404s out there running. So this is one of the options. Log parser performance, as we already mentioned, is quite nice. After 16 seconds, we can see that well, there's a certain amounts of elements processed, and effectively out of that we do have, as you see, a certain amount of, so this is a count all, yes, elements processed, and then we've got, of course, all of them that are different than, in this particular case, 200, and that is 1,000,000.3. Yes, so this is also something that can give us a little bit of a clue. Now we can make it even a little bit better, because we can, for example, well, specify which of those that are different than 200 will be given to us. And oops, not this one. Let me copy it one more time. Copy, and let's say, okay, now it worked. Oh, interesting. Okay, and out of that we've got a very quick scan, and where we actually, as you see, select top 10. So this is very much SQL-ish type of query. We are selecting top 10 records where SC status, date, time, and CS URI stem. You might be wondering, what is this? So these names, because these are the names, these are fields from this log file over here. So if you open the IIS log within the W3C format, basically, and then we are able to well, see the columns, and these are just the column names. Yeah, so we've got SC status, so it's going to be 404, 401, it could be 200, but we want anything different than 200, so that's the thing. Then we've got a date, so we got it, we've got some time, and then we've got CS URI stem, which is the relative URL, as you see. So which of those wasn't there? Yes, and then we can see the most often, so top 10. And top 10 was actually this one, yes? So we are able to measure stuff like that. Effectively, what is also pretty interesting is that we can measure time. And this is one of my favorite things to do, because we can get out of that a lot of logic, especially when you download for yourself Log Parser Studio or Log Parser Lizard. That will allow you to build, as I already said, very nice graphs. That's interesting. Very nice graphs. And effectively, we are able to, well, play a little bit more with what is important for us, like how long does it take, for example, to run certain websites with certain URLs with a certain kind, so that we are able to, for example, like put it in a frame in between like 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. Yeah, so how long does it take? Because this is the most intense time for our website, and I want to know how long does it take, so that I know by that how long do people wait in order to get their website, in order to get the response. And that is actually pretty amazing research, because we're able to maybe invest a little bit more to make our website to act better. Okay, so we've got this log parser, and we are selecting top 10 websites, and we are sorting and choosing the column time taken, so that we are able to, of course, scan how long does it take, and then we've got in general. Yeah, so what is the set of the longest requests within these log files? Yes, yeah, so we can of course choose certain log files and so on. But as you see, and this is quite interesting, we've got the PowerShell web administration, and that certain URL. We've got the minimum, average, and maximum, and this is a little bit of fake results, because we've got 2 hits. So probably this was the moment when it was for the first time running, which for the worker process takes a little bit of time. But in general, this is interesting, 37 hits. So the get client messages takes time. I got also this one, so that took time, but that's quite obvious. It was the first run. But that is also interesting. And we've got also slow one, which I have it here intentionally. He did 4,000 times. And as you see, the maximum, it actually takes a long time. This is the longest one. So we can guess out of that what takes, of course, the longest time in general. So by a number of hits, amount of hits, maximum, average, so that we can put some logic on the top of it. That is actually cool. And effectively, at the very end, we can also do the same type of query. Let me explain it. So we're going to paste it. Bonk. No, not here. One more time. Apparently today copy and paste is difficult. Okay, let's see. I think it's just because I maybe like selected additional layer or something. Let's see. Here we go, and we got it. And paste. And we've got here select top 20, the relative URL, date time, time taken, which is also a column from IIS logs, from the certain logs, and we are ordering by time taken descending. Yeah, so which one's going to be the longest, the shortest, so the longest effectively. So if you're interested in that particularly, then you can always put some logic here, and that is actually pretty cool research, and we can have fun, especially in GUI. It's very motivating because it's quite easy to click on things rather than write up things, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna love it. This is one of my favorite tools that I actually use quite often when I want to let me check out of this log what was this and that during that time, in between that time, that date, this minute and that minute, and I'm able to get some results. Yeah, so as you see, there is a little bit of time taken, and that was the one that is update.txt. Slow one is there too. Yeah, so we can spot that. Okay, so hopefully, of course, this is interesting. And I have inspired you a little bit regarding this. Now, what I want to show you, it's something more that's going to be pretty much interesting from the denial of service perspective, because I showed you the WCAT. But is there any other way I can engage, for example, Linux to it? Absolutely, yes, and we're going to play with that too, yes. So for that, basically, we can use, well, there are different tools, but we can use hping 3, and within hping 3 in Linux, we're able to, for example, flood a certain website. So what I want to show you is actually one of the ways how we are able to flood, in this particular case, acme.net, and this is one of our websites. And we're going to do the simple SYN flooding, which is indicated by the capital S flag, and flood, which means we're going to get and to generate as many different types of packets as possible. And we really don't care about different types of replies that we are getting. It's just like send as much as possible. And we're going to see how the web server, in this case, responds. And our acme.net website, let me show you even here, acme.net or www.acme.net. This is actually the website that runs on that server, and it looks like this. Nice stuff for the very demanding community. Doesn't matter. It's just a simple website running on this server. And that was actually CPU time taken in order to generate the worker process, to start the worker process first because it was down, and serve us this first request. So our website is actually warmed up already. So let's flood it. And this is the simple, very simple, but definitely if you didn't play with it, you need to practice with it a little bit. Default SYN flooding against the website. And as you see, of course, our server reacts in a certain way. Yes? So we send as much as possible. And of course, our firewall can block this traffic. But therefore, I would like to show you a little bit more on the top of it. We can run here Wireshark. And we can start monitoring on two interfaces. I got two interfaces here. Let's do it. This is initializing. By the way, it works so much slower because the CPU time is spent on serving the responses. So as long as we do it, that's great. And we're going to do it on these two interfaces. If it's going to launch eventually. I think it should soon. In a worst case, we're going to just stop it. But besides that, you see that this is actually the reason of the attack. Yeah? So the CPU is busy with some other things. Okay, that makes sense. As you see, this gray, or right now black because I've unselected it, traffic, it is directly coming from 10.10.10.99, which is our Linux over here. And effectively, we can always block it. Yes, so that's not a big deal. Effectively, I stopped the attack, and that is very interesting. And after a little moment, that was the moment when the server responded. So that's also indicating that we are filling up this queue. This, for example, 1000 by default queue, that sooner or later we're going to get the 503 error. Okay, there is also another possibility because if you wish, what we could also do when we are flooding our target, we could, for example, spoof the IP address. Yes, and that option. So we can specify -s, we can do -p and -u, and then we can specify that we would like to, well, in this case, flood and randomize the source address, rand and source. And we are, let me see, what is, oh yeah, sorry, of course, randomize source with -v, without this one. Okay, that's no. What's wrong? Let's see. Oh, -u, yes. Okay, very good. So this is happening right now, and we are randomizing the IP addresses. So as you see, 100% of the CPU. And what is interesting in the back is that we've got these different types of IP addresses, as you see, being randomized. So, well, the CPU is quite busy. We can just stop the attack. Let's do it. And effectively, so our CPU is gonna drop a little bit, but by the output, yeah, now it dropped, okay. By the output, we can see that these IP addresses here, they're all different. So effectively, in our firewall, we need to recognize the different types of signatures and types of the attacks, and eventually react in a different ways. There are different techniques, of course. They got a popular names like black holing, sinkholing. You can just send someone to nowhere, or eventually sinkholing, when you are able to, well, technically redirect the traffic, reroute the traffic to a certain IP address where effectively the traffic will be analyzed and so on. There's also a technique of a clean pipes used by the different types of internet service providers, so that you are able to pass the traffic into like a kind of a clean center where you are able to filter the traffic and eventually choose the one that is correct amongst, of course, all these different packets that we are getting. So this is something that is quite interesting. But what I want to show you, it's actually the last thing, and that is pretty nice. For one of the techniques that we can use for the denial of service attack, it's the nping tool, and these are the types of attack that you can do for yourself. Yes, I'm not talking about putting down the company's websites. Of course, we can talk about it, but not on this training. This is for you to test out and learn how to measure. But one of the tools that are simple, it's the nping, but it's actually pretty nice. We can specify TCP connect type of attack with the rate. We can specify maybe like 90,000 or something. Or we can specify that we should send a certain amount of packets, 90,000 rate. Okay, we got it. And then we're going to specify our target, which in our case is going to be www.acme.net. But have a look what's going to happen, because that's also pretty interesting. We are sending a big amount of traffic right now against the target. See on the left side, that server actually froze because we have just hit it by an extremely huge amount of packets, and that server will process it sooner or later, but for now it's actually frozen. So what if you send a wave like this to someone? Yes, firewall can be reacting to this in a smart way, but effectively you're gonna cause so much resources to be spent on analysis of that traffic that for sure somebody's gonna suffer for a little moment. So this is what I'm talking about. But that server, and that's quite funny too, still it's frozen. Yes, so we can just stop it, and effectively, as you see, now we are actually responding. So that was a little bit of a crazy attack where you could see that the server was 100% directly affected, and this was the traffic that we are still displaying here. The server was affected by, in this case, the certain server, yes, and effectively we couldn't right now. Okay, we couldn't react to this in a reasonable way. Okay, guys. So basically, nping and all of these tools, they're available in Kali Linux. I'm showing you, and this is the goal from the beginning, the very accessible methods to have fun. And from now on, you can continue your own research, and then you are able to have fun. Please don't hurt anyone. You are able to have fun with someone out there, and you are able to verify what's the server's performance eventually at the end. As you see, all of the tools, hping 3 also, and nping 2, they're quite well documented, so you should have no problems with specifying what should be the usage method for that. Yes, and the parameters, of course, that we were using is this -c, that is count. Rate is somewhere out there too, so hopefully you will have no problems with using such. Anyway, this is the subject for today. So little technique about how to cause a lot of attack, a lot of network traffic against your web server, how to measure it on the web server side, and how effectively you are able to get into some conclusions afterwards. There are also a couple of other tools besides the ones that I showed you. Loic is one of them. You can play with this. It's pretty intense. Another one is Xoic. Another one is HOIC, HOIC. So there are plenty of them. There are also a couple of ones like we've got, of course, within OWASP, the the denial of service HTTP post, things like Hulk and so on, Thurs Hammer. All of them, they are all related to generating a huge amount of traffic in a different ways, with a different type, and so on. So hopefully you're gonna find a tool that works for you. I showed you 3 tools, or actually 4 tools with Loic at the very beginning, some of them on Windows, some of them Linux. So the next thing you need to do is just to have a look at those. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to the very short useful hacking series. As usual, we could be talking about the security subjects for hours. The next subject is going to be also pretty interesting. We're going to publish this on the Twitter. We're going to publish this on our Facebook webpage. In the meantime, have a look, of course, at our trainings. The Hacking Secure Windows Infrastructure workshops in US, and we've got also the PKI, which is quite nice and hardcore, how to implement PKI and how to manage PKI training, also for enterprise companies. So that's what we do in general, and hopefully see you on the next Useful Hacking Series episode. If you got some, by the way, ideas about subjects, bring them in, because our team is always happy to address your needs. And if there's something particularly interesting, publish it on Twitter, for example, on Facebook, wherever. Send us an email, info@secure.us, and then we're going to do a webinar about the subjects that you need. But of course, if it's about the next webinars, we're going to be talking about the memory analysis as well, another part. And then one of the cool things that we are preparing right now, it's going to be about the services security and how to configure services in a correct way, because we always see mistakes. For example, how to configure appropriately SPNs and what happens when they're misconfigured. We're going to be talking about SMB relay that still works in the enterprises. And we're going to be talking about cache credentials, which is a very cool subject, because we are the only team in this world, and we know that reverse engineered cache credentials and continued the data protection API research after the guys in 2010. So hopefully there's going to be something interesting for you too. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great afternoon today.
Thanks, Paula. Thanks so much. And please look out for the survey. Please fill it out. Any information you can put on there will be great. And we will see you next time on Useful Hacking Series. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you, guys.